those for me.
Roseann Christen, RoseAnnChristen.
And, all right. Tell me about James when he was a kid.
Growing up, he was a good kid. He was
Who would
always...
they ever say, growing up, James is a good kid?
Oh, okay, that's right, because of the name. James was a great child growing up. Very helpful. He was the baby of the family, but he always treated his older brother as the baby. So he never thought of himself as the baby. When James was 8 months old, his brother was about a year and a half older than him. And he would take him out of the walker, put him behind it, and get in the walker himself. So James never felt that he was the baby. He was walking by the time he was 8 months old. So, but that was thanks to his brother, wanting to be the baby and not him. He was really good. He was good in school and everything. He was making a career he was doing landscaping, had his own business, and he was doing shooting pool. He even named his dog 8 Ball because he was a pool shark. So, and he was doing great. A family member had introduced him to crack cocaine. And with him having his own money and everything, he was being used, and that's how he got started on drugs. He was about 15 years old. So, and then I found out about it when he was 17, is when I found out about it. And that's when all hell broke loose. So, and he started heroin probably at the end of the age 17 is when he started heroin. And I didn't know nothing about the drug. I had some church people that was working with me, not to enable him, but I didn't know that it was like it is now. Since I've been working with groups and working with everything, I know what heroin's like now. If I would have known back then of the signs or the symptoms or what kind of help to get him, we could have went a different course, because the church was doing really good with him and we was trying to do it on our own. But people's got to learn you cannot do this on your own. You need some kind of help from someone, especially if you don't know what you're dealing with, because just saying, oh, you can't be a parent, you can't enable. You have got to know more than that. You can't just cut them off 100% and say, no, I'm not going to enable you. You need to know what's going on with this addiction problem before you could sit here and explain to a child that you're going to cut them off. So they all need help in a certain way.
Now, how far did James go in school?
He was in the 10th grade when I found out about it. And I even put him in a place called HHH for about 6 months. So, and he was supposed to do a year. And he was doing great. And a family member came back around and got him all started again and kind of destroyed it again. So.
Why do you think the family member, and when you say this, I think the family member, blah, and why do you think the family member reintroduced him to this? So, I think the family member reintroduced James to this
because they was poor.
Say what I said.
I didn't want the family member to do this and bring this back into his life again. But with them not having a job and no way to support their own habits, they used whoever they can use to get back into it with themselves, to get extra for themselves. So.
And you found out he was taking drugs at 16.
Yes.
Heroin at 17. And you said you didn't know the signs to look for?
Right. Well, he was probably 18 before he started the heroin.
Okay. What are some signs?
The nodding in and out is one of the main majority ones. Them not eating. a lot of them, they eat liquid Jello instead of ice Slurpees, slushies. So the cherry helps calm the stomach, to calm their stomach down, that they can deal with the withdrawals. So they'll deal with a lot of stuff like that, but they won't want to eat. They'll say they got a cold or they got a flu. That's keeping them in bed, you know, that they're having stomach cramps, and they'll get real whiny, you know. I don't feel good, I think I need to go to the hospital, something's wrong. They'll do certain things like that.
So, what was James? What was James doing that, or how did you actually find out?
How did I find out? Let's see. I'm trying to think. Let's see. That's when he came and told me he needed a place to stay, and that's when the church started helping us out with him. But you know, we didn't know much about it except not to enable, you know, to help him get through the worst symptoms. But that's all we knew.
So, what was it that the church tried? What did you learn from the church?
They helped him a lot spiritual-wise, like when he was going through the bad withdrawals, the spiritual and the praying, and all sitting there comfort him. It calmed him down a lot. I mean, a lot, where he could focus on not dealing with so much pain, because the pain is just exclusive.
From withdrawals?
From withdrawals. I mean, it's really, really bad. So that is the main thing, where it's like they was in a car wreck, but you don't see nothing wrong with them. It's how much pain they're in, and whining, and, you know, I'm sick to my stomach, I can't get up, you know. They don't want to move.
So now you said he told you. That's how you found out?
Yes.
Okay. When you found out, how did you react to that?
I didn't know much about it. All I wanted to do is be there for him, you know. But I was told not to enable him. But I didn't know, you know, I wasn't on Facebook like that to know that this was a big problem. I was like one of the other parents, you know, you need to hide this, not let anybody know about this. It's, you know, it makes you think that you're ashamed of them, and you're not. You're just trying to help them. But if friends and neighbors and families know, you know, oh, I don't want people to know that, you know, that's not right, you know. They'll think I didn't raise my kid right. Well, it's not about that. Anybody can get the drug. It's not if you're poor or rich. It happens to everybody. It's just you try it once and you're hooked. It's a lot of people, if they've had problems when they was younger, you know, they'll go to something like this. If they had an abusive parent, they'll go to this type of drug, you know, because it relieves the pain. It makes you forget about everything. So.
So, while he was early struggling, what would you do to try to help him? If we've not covered it already, but what were things you tried to do?
We'd make him a lot of cherry Jello. He would eat that liquefied with whipped cream in it, Cool Whip or something like that. Benadryl, things like that. You know, they want painkillers to kill the pain, but you know, that's why they go back to the pain pills and everything like that, is because it helps the pain of having the withdrawals from the heroin. So they want things like that to calm them down, because the Benadryl's just not enough. And they beg and beg for you to take them to a hospital so they can get pain medication.
Finish this statement. You can't do this on your own because withdrawal. You can't do withdrawal on your own because.
Boy, and I've said this so many times to a whole bunch of kids that come to me. You can't do this on your own because it's more than what you think it is. It is like being in a car wreck. You need somebody there with you. If you don't have someone to help you get through this and be on the proper things to help you get through it, not substitute another drug for it, but to help you get through it, that's been dealing with it themselves, people to talk to, a place to detox. You have to have this. If you don't have this, you're not going to make it.
And when you were trying to get help, what obstacles did you run into? I mean, what could be changed that would make it?
A place for a rehab, detox rehab for them to go to, just because they don't have no money. The main thing is money. If you don't have money, there is no place to get detox and rehab.
Okay.
That is a big stipulation in Cincinnati, Ohio. No detox, no rehab, waiting list, no place for them to go. We're shipping them out of state, Dayton, Columbus, Tennessee, just to get Indiana, just to get them help. We've had a lot of them come over to Kentucky, to St. Elizabeth's, to get them detox so that we can get them into a rehab. So, but there's no place for them to go. That's why they wind up back on the street. Once you're in a hospital, if you go to UC and you're in a hospital, after 3 days they throw you out. No help from there.
Why?
You get your 3 days detox and you're back out on the streets. There's no place to put you.
Can you detox in 3 days?
You could detox over the worst 24 hours. Some's 24 hours, some's 3 days. If you're on methadone, it could take up to 6 months. I mean, coming off of methadone is like your first day withdrawal of coming off of heroin. So every person is different. Some take 5 days to detox, but the worst part is the first 3 to 5 days. And then they expect you to go cold turkey and do it on your own. They just kick you out, give you a bus fare.
Explain a little bit about what happens, what detox is. From a medical standpoint, what do they do?
Oh boy, I really couldn't tell you from inside the detox. I know that they tell me that they get them through with medications, Benadryl. There's a couple other medications that they give them. They're like Benadryl, but prescription, to help calm the pain down. You know, they don't substitute another drug with it, though. You know, they don't put them on painkillers and things like that, because they know what detox is about. Because if you go on painkillers, when you're going through detox, all you're doing is substituting for another one, and it's not going to help the detox process properly.
How long should somebody be in detox?
3 to 7 days. Each person is individually different. It depends on how much they're used to shooting up a day, or how much they're used to snorting a day, or each person should be separately between. One guy can do three days that's only shoots it up once a day. Now, if you got someone that shoots it up with a needle or does it both ways, and they're doing over 3 grams a day, then yeah, they need at least 7 days detox. After the first day of detox, they'll say, "Oh, I'm okay. You can release me," because they're fiending for it. So that's why it's the hardest to keep them to 3 to 7 days to help them get through it properly.
In Ohio, I think we have Casey's Law in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Is there anything like that in Ohio?
No. We have put in all the paperwork to the government's office, to the Attorney General's office.
Who is we?
Myself and Ursula have put in paperwork to the Commissioner's Board, to the Mayor of Cincinnati, to the Cincinnati Police, to the Commissioner's Board, to the Attorney General's DeWine's office, to Governor Kasich. We have put all this paperwork in back in October. When we talked to them in January, all of these was supposed to be approved and sitting on the desk just waiting for signature. Well, we just got an email today that Attorney General's office is going to get their heroin unit up and running, that they're going to have a meeting for Hamilton County. Well, Butler County's already got their heroin unit that is already working with everybody. You know, Hamilton County is a big county, and we can't even get the drugs out of our jail, let alone get the drugs off the streets. I mean, the officers will sit there and tell you, we watch drug deals go down all the time. There's nothing we could do about it. You're an officer. If you see someone with drugs, how can you not sit there and go over and arrest them? Because they're afraid it's gang-related shootings and getting the officers killed.
So when you say Butler County has a heroin unit, what's the heroin unit do?
I have not went to any of their meetings. I've been pretty busy with myself, but they meet with them every week to tell them what they're trying to do.
Who do they meet with?
They meet with a lot of the mothers,
Okay.
heroin control, no dope in Butler County. There's a couple groups that's out there that is meeting with them in neighborhoods that's coming in. It's open meetings where anybody can go to them to, when you guys going to come near our streets? They're outside all the time, and some of them, they'll tell you, videotape and picture as much as you can and get faces and license numbers. But, what they're doing from there with all the information, nobody knows.
What's the difference between detox and rehab?
Detox is you have medical staff there to help you go through the withdrawals that can administer medications and to watch your blood pressure, your heart rates, make sure you don't go into seizures. So there's a big difference between detox and rehab. Detox, someone has to watch you 24/7. Rehab is where you can go anywhere on the floor or part of the building that you're allowed to be in.
And what on the rehab? What are they doing while they're there?
The rehab, one of the things they do is like Salvation Army. That is a great group, totally free. You have a men's in Norwood, and then you have men's and women in Dayton, Ohio, where they trust you. You get strikes against you, you will get kicked out because it's totally free. The first thing they teach you is the basics, and that's to get up, make your bed, take a shower, be clean, dress properly, and come down and work in the store, go to church, go to breakfast, go to lunch, and go to classes. And then after you're there 3 to 6 months, they put you out to work. You go out, they help you find a job. If you need education finished, they help you finish your education. They put you out in the workforce, and then they start charging you $20, $50 a week, and say, okay, well, your paycheck's $300 for this week. So put $100 of it up, pay us, and here's your spending money. Learning how to control their money without it going to drugs. So they basically teach them all over again from what the parents do, because they have to learn how to control their money and not go out and spend it on drugs. Go buy things for themselves.
And is that part of the recovery is retraining?
Retraining the brain, yes.
Let me ask you a little bit about, because I've heard things about this, methadone.
Right.
What is it? Tell me about that.
Methadone, I personally don't approve of it. I don't approve of the Suboxone or the methadone. But, I mean, if they was given to you properly through the doctor's office where they wean you down, then it's great. You get so much dosage with methadone, okay? And a doctor's supposed to wean you off of it after so long. Well, I know people that's been on it 10 years, they've never been weaned down at all. See, so the doctors don't know how to wean people down off of it. They don't have the training to, okay, you've been on this dosage for a month, so let's start weaning you down. So that's what they're opening the clinics up for. But it costs so much, the kids can't afford it. The Suboxone or the methadone, they just cannot afford it. The Suboxone, it's like mint. You just put it on your tongue and it melts instantly. Now the patches, I don't recommend the patches for anything because you have what I got out there that kids will get on that really don't want to quit. They'll get on the patches, and they sell the patches, and then those are sold to patch suckers. They're called patch suckers, where they suck the heroin out of the patch because it's automatic heroin. I knew that would happen with one of us. I'm glad it wasn't mine.
Okay. I can find my phone.
I hear it ringing.
You there?
I don't know those. Oh, Crystal text.
And we can leave the glasses on if you want to. Hang on. Yes. Can I help you? Yes. Okay. You know where it is? Okay. Yeah. Just come inside. When you come in, turn left, and we're the first door on the right. Yeah, but, that's okay. Just don't come in and make a big loud noise. When you walk in the door, you're going to have to turn left. You can't turn any other way. And then as you walk down the hall, it's going to open up, and we're right on the right-hand side. All right. All right. Bye-bye.
Was that Crystal? She texted me, am I getting Kayla? I said, yeah. Kayla said that you're picking her up because Kayla went back to school. Okay.
And I changed the camera angle a little bit. Let me ask you about your Navy shirt. Is there any significance to that?
James, he got in trouble and was in jail probably, I think he'd done a year. It was for theft and crack cocaine. And when he got out, my husband is a Navy vet. And we got matching shirts. And James, for Father's Day, made him a cannon. It said, thanks for being a great stepdad. Happy Father's Day. And that's when we got the shirts too.
Very cool. We were talking about methadone.
Yes.
And you don't like it.
Right.
Let me interject one thing real quick. I'm going to have lunch tomorrow with a guy. His daughter has been on methadone for 10 years.
Right.
10 years.
Yeah.
That's just like being hooked on drugs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's straight heroin.
And that's what he told me. He
Yeah.
said you just leave one addiction, go to another.
Right.
You know.
Because the doctor's not weeding them down. It's doctors, they just prescribe it, give it to them, and
Well, I've heard
They don't
stories
deal with it.
about people who in the 60s got on methadone and they're 60 years old now and still on it.
Yeah.
60 or 65, whatever, Anyway,
it's the only thing that keeps the pain away.
yeah.
Instead of them going through the withdrawals of that and dealing with the pain that is causing them to want to sit there and be on that medication, then they don't want to be off of it. They have too much pain memories.
Yeah. I'm going to make another adjustment here. And I want to ask you about the, is somebody here?
No.
Okay. Before we get to the end, you mentioned some of the obstacles you ran into,
Right.
but what were you hoping?
For James?
Yeah.
Well, what I was hoping for James is he was in the newspaper that he was wanted for credit card theft. And my dad had also called me. And all of a sudden, I got a knock at the door, and a SWAT team had my house surrounded, saying that James is here. We know he's here. We know he's been staying here. No, you have your wrong information. So I says, I talked with my father about this, and we think he'd be better off if we let you guys, if we helped you to get him so that he can get help. Oh, we guarantee him help. We want to get him off the streets before he winds up dead.
Now, who told you this?
The warrant officers. that followed me to go get my son.
What's a warrant officer?
They
You said
warrant, yeah, warrant officer. They go and get people that is wanted. And a crime tip came in that he was at my house, which he wasn't, but you know, we haven't seen him for 3 weeks. So, and that's why we knew he was back on the drug, that us in the church did not make it. And I told him, I says, I'll help you get my son if you can help me make sure he gets help. Well, we want him off the streets. You know, one of these dealers is going to wind up killing him. You know, we don't want to see your son dead. We know you want to help him. I said, yes, I want to help him. I says, you know, that's why I started calling him and trying to find out where he's at. And they followed me and did a pretend stop to bust him. So, and that's how we got him in jail. He was doing great the first couple months, came down off of the withdrawals and was doing really good. He was on way too much medication though, a drug called amitriptyline. It's a big downer that they put on him to keep them under control so that they leave the security guards alone so that they don't bug him so much. So, and he was on way too much of that, and he was doing work community and doing really good. He had people coming to him all the time, you know, well, you know, we can release you of this charge if you give us this guy. And he was finally level-headed. He was still dealing with this church again. No, I'm going to face God myself. I'm the one that did this. I'm not going to sit here and be a snitch and turn other people in. They need to deal with their problems, and I'll deal with mine. And he was doing really, really good. And someone had a dispute with him down there at the County Justice Center and got him taken off of the 1 floor and transferred up to the 5th floor. And 7 days after being on the 5th floor, I seen him that Saturday, April 13th, and I had promised him I'd come see him because his stepfather, David, the one in the Navy, was sitting.
Sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
Ask you something. Another producer here, named Steve Welsh, who had done some stuff and then left and came back, heard what you guys are doing and really wants to get involved. Here's the situation. He's looking to do his own anti-drug stuff, and I mentioned what you guys are doing, and he said, "Well, give them my stuff." He really would love to talk to you guys. Real good guy.
Thank you.
So
Thank you very much.
I thought if I wait, then you'll leave, and I will forget.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you. They're good people.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. He was on a floor, and then they sent him to the 5th floor.
Right, he was on the 2nd floor. He was doing good, passed all.
What's the difference between 2nd and 5th?
2nd floor, he was doing work for them, trying to pay back of what he'd done wrong. So he was working and doing community service is what he was doing. Okay, he got drug tested every day, no problems, never failed no test. I can't go into details of how it happened, but he got transferred up to the 5th floor, and he's been putting calls into the doctor. The doctor, I think he had 13 kites. Kites are where if you want to see a doctor or you want to see your lawyer, it's a piece of paper you fill out and you give to the guard for them to give to the CO so that they can get that ordered for them. And what happened is somebody got mad or something. He got put up to the 5th floor, said that he failed that he refused to take a drug test, but he was just coming out of the bathroom. They watched him go in, took a shower, went to the bathroom. He came out, and they said, "You got 5 minutes to give me a urine sample or you're getting transferred." He says, "Dude, you just saw me come out of the bathroom. You know I just got done going. You're going to do what you want to do anyhow, so you might as well just go ahead and do it." So they transferred him up to the 5th floor. He was still waiting. It was the 2nd week of him waiting to talk to the doctor about the medication problem. And he was on the 5th floor. April 13th, around 2 p.m., I went down and saw him, let him know that his stepdad was good. They was letting him out of the hospital. He had a 95% blockage, carotid artery, and had a heart attack. His stepfather did. And he wanted to know how he was and everything because he was supposed to come down with me, but he wasn't out of the hospital yet. So I talked with him for a while. He said that he just took his meds, that he wasn't feeling well, that he put another kite into the doctor, that he just gave it to the nurse when she gave him his meds. And he was supposed to call me that night to talk to a real close dear friend of his that come to say to stay with me to get help also, since that was going on with James. And he was supposed to call at 7:30 that night. And 7:29 p.m., he had a massive nosebleed on the 4th floor in the rec room. And the Charlene that runs the jail said, this is what she told me, that he had a massive nosebleed, that she had it under investigation of why they didn't make him go to the infirmary to see what was wrong. Instead, they walked him back to his cell, where he died instantly, and was in first stage rigor mortis. And this is when they found him at 11 o'clock that night. His roommate went to go get his medications. And they said, where's your bunkie? Well, his bunkie sit there and says, I've been telling you guys you need to get back there. Something is wrong with him. They go, what do you mean? He's back there dead now. He's not coming after no meds. They says, well, why didn't you tell us? This is all from Charlene, the one that runs the jail. Why don't you tell us? I've been telling you guys, you've been ignoring me. I told you something was wrong with him at 7:30 when you laid him down, and this is what was wrong with him. He was overdosing, and then they never came back to help. So, and that's what happens when doctors don't listen and guards don't listen, and you have drugs in your jail because no one wants to help. This is what happens to them. And these are the last photos of my child. He was pronounced dead at 11:30 p.m. that night by the EMTs that they finally called in to come help him. They didn't notify me till Sunday evening at 9 p.m. that this happened.
Let me get the time frame
Okay.
correct.
Oh, I've got that down pat.
The person who was in the cell with him,
Yes, his bunkie.
okay, what time did he tell them?
At 7:30 is when they laid him back in his, they took him back, they walked him back to his cell because of the nosebleed. He said that he, according to the Charlene, according to the paperwork and him, he went to them twice at 8 and 9:30. At 8 o'clock that something was wrong with him, that someone needs to come check on him.
This is the bunkie.
The bunkie went to the guards
Okay.
and said something's wrong with him. And he went back at 9:30 because, you know, he's got a lot of medical issues and problems, that his bunkie did. And sitting back there in the cell, just looking at him dead, was really taking a toll on him. So, and then at 11 o'clock, they said med time. And that's when his bunkie went to get his meds, and they said, where is your bunkie, James? And he says, I've been telling you guys, something's wrong with him. Now he's back there dead. He was in first stage rigor mortis before they went back to check on him. And they put him in the bed at 7:30.
So at 8:30 and 9:30, the bunkie, he's actually in the cell.
Yes.
So how does he relay the message?
The door's open till a certain time.
Okay.
You're not locked in. Lockdown, they don't do lockdown till after medications at 11.
Gotcha. So at 11,
When he got his meds.
when the bunkie says he's back there dead, then what did they do?
So they finally went to him
Do you know what time?
at 11:10, 11:15 p.m. They had a squad on the way. Coroner came. They pronounced him dead at 11:30. They even did where they put stuff on him to make it look like they tried and saved him.
Yeah.
But how can you try and save somebody that's in first stage rigor mortis? I mean, you could see the first stage rigor mortis. It's where they tried saying they saved him. I mean, you can't save somebody that's in first stage rigor mortis. I mean, he would have been totally brain dead by that time. I mean, you can see the rigor mortis in the pictures.
And what time did they notify you?
Sunday evening after 9 p.m. A detective came out to the house, said he was the outside investigator.
That was 22 hours later.
Yes. And I says, why did it take so long for you to contact me? He says, we didn't have an address or phone number. I says, I was there Saturday afternoon. I says, whenever you visit, that's the first thing they ask you. What's your phone number and what's your address? Is your address correct on your ID? And I says, that's not proper. You know, you're calling me now. Well, we just got your number. Of course, you got my phone number from the records from the front desk. So how can you just now be coming to me?
I'm not going to get into what you are doing with Cincinnati right now.
Right.
Okay. And I should have told you this at the beginning. Don't say anything that you don't want repeated.
Right.
Because, and
Right.
the reason is, you may tell me not to repeat it,
Right.
but then I hand it off to two other
Right.
people and they don't.
Well, all of this is in documents.
Yeah.
So I don't see where it would hurt to say anything that we've said today. Even with Charlene, I mean, that was one-on-one. I mean, if she didn't want that said, she shouldn't have said it to me, right?
Exactly.
I mean, because she had me right in that room, and she's the one that told me that she put the investigation on it. She's the one that sat down and gave her condolences, you know, and told me what. That's the only reason I know what happened at 7:30. That's the only reason I know he had a massive nosebleed, is because Charlene took me in a room Monday morning and told me about it. So that's the only reason I know what happened, is he had a massive nosebleed in the rec room on the 4th floor.
What time Monday morning?
Oh, when I seen Charlene, I think it was around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because I went down to pick his belongings up.
Gotcha.
I didn't even get his shoes back. No. You see him on him in the pictures, but he didn't even get his shoes back. And I asked the individual investigator about it, because they was brand new shoes. And he says that they might be evidence. Well, the case has been closed. The shoes never came back.
What do you do now? What is your mission? What do you do to fight heroin now?
What we started doing, we was petitioning downtown. And when we was petitioning downtown, one of the days that we was fighting, you know, get drugs out of our jails, we got death threats and on my cell phone. So it had to be somebody in there that knew James, that knew my number, because this was the first week of May when we had the protest downtown. And the first one that came through, it's Global Tel Link. And we have a message for you from Global Tel Link. It's when they're supposed to say their name, it says the first call said, "We see you." The second call says, "You need to leave." So we held up on our signs, you know, get drugs out of jail. We're not leaving. The third call said, "We got our peeps on our way." Took them into the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office for them to monitor it to see if they could figure out where the calls came from. One guard said they could, but another guard said they couldn't, and I never heard from them on that. So then we started sending all them petitions in that we have on our pages back in October. And we had talks with the Commissioners Board. You know, they've been working with us pretty strong of getting all this paperwork to DeWine and everything. So, and we had the x-ray machines put in to Hamilton County Justice Center. Well, they quit using them a month later.
How come?
They said it was liability issues. But Mike has video from some of the kids down there. It wasn't liability issues. The guards, he said, the guards can't get the drugs in if we can't get nothing in, because then they know that it's not coming from the inmates, because the inmates is the only ones that had to go through the x-ray machines. So he says, if we can't get the drugs in and we're still getting drugs, they can't blame it on us. He says, that's why they took the x-ray machines out. I says, well, how do you know this? He says, because when you guys had the x-ray machines in there, they had us doped up on Klonopin, amitriptyline and Klonopin, which is Klonopin causes seizures. Because one girl that I got out down there, that the judge was sending to the ADAPT program. We had to take her to the hospital because she was dehydrated. She lost her baby. She was Rh negative. She lost her baby. We was at the hospital for 5 hours to get IV fluids in her. They had to give her a shot because of losing the baby from all the spot bleeding and the fight of her blood from the baby. And it's got something to do with Rh. It would have contaminated hers, or she contaminated the babies by not getting a shot for being pregnant and having Rh negative.
Okay,
So it's that type of thing.
I know what you're saying now. Let's go back to this x-ray machine. When you say we, are you talking about an organization? And then when you say
Yeah.
you got these in, tell me how you got those in. So tell me.
Heroin Recovery for You. We did some interviews with Channel 19 News. Heroin Recovery for You. Please Don't Feed the Monster. And the other ones, there's another group too. Stop Heroin in Hamilton County. We sent paperwork into the government, the commissioner, all of them. And, and we even did it on Channel 19 News. Why can't we take some of this money? You got $800,000 last year of drug money that was collected through Hamilton County Courthouse. Why can't we take some of this money, put an x-ray machine in so kids can't get these drugs in the jail? Okay, well, they got the machines put in, just like they do at the airports. You go through it, it scans you inside and out. The month that it was in there, we even, I can't remember the old mayor's name now. The one before Cranley. The old mayor, we even talked to her about it because when we got this one girl out, and she said that, everybody's walking. Please?
Roxanne?
Yeah. Quail. That's it. Thank you. When we got the one girl out, she says, well, you got to go through the x-ray machine now. You can't get no drugs in there. But she says now they have, because she was asking the doctor at the hospital, they wouldn't give me nothing because I was pregnant. But she said 80% of the girls in there and the guys are walking around like zombies because they're on clonidine and amitriptyline. And she goes, you can't distribute clonidines like this. She says, well, they're getting it every 3-4 hours. She says, you can't do that. She says, that causes seizures.
Who said this?
The doctor at the emergency room said that you couldn't do that. So that's when we got a hold of Roxanne Quayle and told her about the clonidine being in the jail, that's what they're giving them. And then all of a sudden the x-ray machine vanishes, they get rid of the clonidines, and they're back on amitriptyline. But they said it was a liability issue.
Are the machines still there?
No. I don't know if they still have them there, but they're not using them. They said it's a liability issue.
Okay.
But no one had to go through them either except the inmates. And anybody that has any contact with the prisoners should have to go through these machines.
In Campbell County, we're in Kenton County,
Yeah.
but in Campbell County, there are some inmates who get like on a work release.
Right, that's what James was on.
And they're actually kept separate.
Right, so was James.
The other inmates.
Yep.
That way,
He had different rec room and everything.
if an inmate on a work release were to bring
Right.
something in, it wouldn't make any difference
Right.
because he can't get into that part of the jail.
Right. Right.
So, and
And that's the same with James. Now,
he was in a higher security part of the jail.
right. Now, when James was on the second floor with that, they did a drug testing. 4 out of the 9 came back, 7 out of the 9 came back, 6 or 7 out of the 9 came back positive for cocaine. James and another guy didn't. They came back clear as a bell. They was not using no drugs. So they got put back out on the work detail. And that's when they transferred him. They let him back out on the work detail 1 or 2 days, and then all of a sudden he's shipped to the other floor. So, but all of them, because they already told him, you pass clean, you get to go back out and keep doing your work. And that's what he was doing.
And what was it he actually died of?
Amitriptyline, codeine, morphine, and heroin.
So,
The mixture of all.
and they found heroin in his system?
Yeah.
He's in a more secure part of the jail. He'd been clean.
7 days on the 5th floor and he's got that much heroin in
7
him.
days on the more secured 5th floor.
Right.
How much heroin did he have in him, do you know?
1 point something. Amitriptyline was higher than the.
What is amitriptyline? That's
It's a drug that the psychiatrist there has got him prescribed on. But he's already been complaining about the dosage being too high.
Wow.
So between the dosage of that medication and doing heroin on top of that medication was automatic death.
So you've started a group, and what is it called, and what do you do?
Heroin Recovery for You. I assist in helping addicts get to, if they come to me, then, and they ask for help, I'm on their side and I get them help. You know, no matter if it's in a free place or we have to pay for it, or if we have to ship them someplace. We have a new program opening up May 2nd that I'll be able to help every single one of them that come to me. So it's going to hold 120 beds.
Alrighty.
I think this is the most I've talked about this since day one.
And it's heartbreaking to hear. Looking to the future, what should people know about this? What should people know about? What do you want people to know?
What do I want people to know? This. Learn about this drug. Learn what your child is doing. No matter if they sit there and say, I know my child, they're not doing no drugs, don't go on word. Wait till they come home on a Sunday, drug test them, and say, I'm sorry I had to do that. It's not about not trusting you. It's about, I love you. That's what it's all about. Don't enable them. Don't believe in their words. Show them that you really love them. Don't sit there and listen to them sit there and say, I'm not doing no drugs, Mom. I'm not doing no drugs. This is what happens when you say, I'm not doing no drugs. You have got to sit there and drug test them and learn about drugs yourself and side effects. Marymount is having one the 26th for parents to learn what drugs do to kids. I mean, they'll do this drug, they'll go out and smoke pot afterwards, or do downers or do Benadryl to come down off of it so they could face you straight into you and say, I'm not doing drugs. But this is what happens. And this, I'm for the living now. I help all living. I can't do nothing about James, but I can help the next living one. And I'm on my 10th one in recovery. That's basically pretty much all I can say.
That's good.
Is that good?
And what I'm going to do right now, just so I know this is the end,